If this is your message, I'm praying that it finds you and it resonates and it lands exactly in the place where it needs to. And I'm getting excited because I'm feeling into, I just got a little flash of a vision of someone watching this 7 months from now or 3 years from now. And if that's the date, check the date. If that's you and this is yours, leave a comment at the end of this. But please use your discernment and consult your own intuition, God, the universe, your method, whatever it is that you use to identify what kinds of messages are for you, do that. Because this is not going to be for everyone. And I'm putting myself out there and I'm willing to be seen and judged in order to share something that to the wrong people is going to look, God knows how it's going to look. And while I'm making this, I don't have a huge audience, but I do genuinely feel real messages in my spirit that I channel and I feel. And a lot of the things that I share are personal to me. This is Butter, by the way. She's the queen of my universe. A lot of the things that I channel are things that I'm personally experiencing and going through, and I know that there is a collective of people on the earth that have gone through, are going, or just are about to go through the themes that other people are going through. So I want to be here to create a sense of community, connection, encouragement, spiritual strength for the people who want it and need it. Because I know for me, watching videos like these, I swear to God, was one of the main things that got me through my deep spiritual transformations. All right, so today's message is gonna be about, we're just getting cozy here. Yeah. Okay, so today's message is gonna be about the first word that comes to mind is sticky. Sticky. It's a time. This is when you're going to start to know whether or not this is for you. If you're going through, or have just gone through, or you're coming out of, or this has kind of been orbiting your field lately, your life and your world. There's a sense of you're welcome to sit here. I'm just going to be talking. Yeah. There's a sense of stickiness, and it's like you're right at the edge. You've already entered the new thing. You've already stepped into your new life. However, you've learned what you need to learn to receive what's coming. And all the last threads, the last skeins of just spiritual, psycho-emotional entanglement are being undone right now. Think of what you're going through in this way. This is for you if you're going through discomfort and you're walking into a massive change. You've undergone a massive spiritual, psychological transformation. Yes. And it's like you are walking out in the world, and it's almost like in your inner world you feel a very, very, very alive connection to peace and God and heaven on earth, and where you're going and what your visions are, and you've eliminated distractions, and you've done a ridiculous amount of work to discern what's for you, and you're not wasting your breath anymore. You don't overthink things anymore. You know what you want. You know what's for you. And you're not willing to waste your mind trying to wrap itself around the relationships, the places, the things, the events, the one-off moments that just don't make sense and don't fit. You're not doing that anymore. You're not, because you know yourself. You've gone through enough loss and change and insight and revelation to the point that you feel peace within yourself, and you found this deep, deep, deep reservoir within yourself after betrayal, lies, after secrets were kept from you, after transparency was not, you were not met with transparency, you just weren't met in the right way. You weren't met in the right way. And it's taken a lot of grounding and breathing and, I don't know why I want to say exercise, but like that word just coming to mind, practice, to assimilate this truth into your nervous system, to accept the things that the people around you and the places around you weren't openly acknowledging. It's like you kind of were walking around with a flashlight. You were the one to have to discern. You were the only one with your eyes open in many, many situations. Whether it was in your family, your workplace, your relationships, your city, or your community, your environment, there were many little situations that it was almost like you were just walking through a tunnel, and you could see the light at the end of it, but it was like, it felt like the walls were just so caved in around you, and you just had to go through that to kind of get out of it, and you are out of it. You're out of it. You're in the open. You're in the open. You're in the light now. Or you're going towards that, or you're going to be there soon, or, you know, you have just gotten past that. I have a cat hair. Yeah. And another thing is, you're still going. You're still moving towards the thing. You're not arrived yet. The physical manifestations, they're winking at you for sure. They're starting to show up in small ways. You might see signs from nature. You might see, I don't know if anyone here is into birds. I'm really into birds. I receive a lot of omens and messages from animals who show up at a certain time. I get really unusually close to certain animals or birds or whatever. That's one of my things that makes me feel, or that kind of mirrors this energetic pattern in my life when I come closer and closer to this new world, this new life, this new expression of the inner spiritual transformations that I'm going through. Birds is a big one. Specifically seeing rare birds flying across the windshield on a drive, or overhearing, certain conversations is another one. For example, for me, marriage is one of my goals, one of my dreams, one of my callings. And there have been periods where I had done some work and cleared some energetic entanglements and freed up my own belief systems and subconscious expectations to be even more ready to receive that when it arrives. The whole process is just, of transformation and entering the new thing is, a lot of it is becoming receptive to what it is that you want. And a lot of that comes with cleaning up the gunk and untangling the skeins, the webs, the knots of lies, is what I was referring to earlier, and betrayal. And some people in the spiritual community, I think that this is a very nuanced topic, okay? I watched a video where someone said that they didn't like the word betrayal because, and people have said this before, like, you can't be betrayed by someone who never was accountable to themselves, or who never honored, or who abandoned themselves. And I understand what they're saying. I feel like that's referring to the linguistic math of what they mean. I don't know if that made any sense whatsoever. I'm going to try to explain myself. Betrayal is a real experience. I'm not here to spiritually bypass and walk on eggshells and deny the fact that betrayal is a real thing, especially when it comes to people that you love and trust, and then all of a sudden you see a new side of them that you didn't expect. And I'm speaking for my population of people who grew up in families whose literal biological role was to love, care for, and protect them, but they exploited them, manipulated them, and abused them instead. They betrayed what I think is a biological and God-ordained obligation. Do not have children if you can't provide for them. And I get that people are where they are. People can only do their best. People make mistakes. People walk down certain paths unaware of the consequences of their decisions. And so they might have a child that they're not ready to take care of. And I'm not calling this out to shame those people, because I want to have compassion for them and for the people that have abused me and who, put me in situations where I experienced betrayal. So I'm not here to bypass or anything. That's a very real reality. It sucks, it's painful, it's hard, and it needs to be acknowledged in spaces like this, because a lot of the time people like me, people like past versions of myself who were more vulnerable and more lacking this self-worth and a strong self-concept and self-possession, which I feel like I have more of these days than I did in the past. And it continues to I've just become more grounded and more at peace as I grow. And even speaking about this, the way that my voice is becoming hoarse and raspy right now is a direct testament to how energetically, emotionally in the past I've been silenced, I've been shut down, I've been invalidated, I've been dismissed. The population of people who go through the things that I went through haven't always found the validation, the healing that we have needed, or, I speak for myself, but I know I'm not the only one in spiritual communities, especially when I'm, out here in the wild, healing on my own, looking for guidance, looking for answers, looking for mentorship, looking for healing, looking for love, looking for a safe person to hold space while I do my journey. And sometimes it's just life that we walk that path alone, but I do know for a fact that I think this is so funny. She's just like a loaf of bread in my hands. Yes, you are. It's a thing in life that, when you walk alone, there's usually a couple people sprinkled here and there that are like divine hands or angels, sent to support you, guide you, give you a piece of light that you can carry with you throughout the rest of your life. I've had a lot of people like that in my life, and there are people that I'll never forget the way they made me feel, the impact that they had on me. And the tools, the knowledge, the love, the energy, the support, the strength that they bestowed upon me, that I use to cut through illusions and facades and the specific communities or teachers or people who, may have posed as more powerful than they were capable of serving you with, or presented in a way that led you to believe that maybe they could guide you or support you in some way, but they were maybe not trauma informed, or maybe missing the ability to express and understand and articulate nuance in certain areas. And again, I speak for myself and I share this because it's a personal story, and I'm not saying this to shame or wrong any mentors or teachers out there, but what I'm saying is use your discernment and trust yourself. And for me, that's so important to say, because I was the person who didn't learn how to trust myself. I was born into the wild, basically. I grew up and was raised in a not safe, loving environment, and that was my first impression. And so it took me a hell of a lot of learning and kind of being put through what felt like, washing machine cycles in life to be able to discern and keep my peace and keep my center and walk away from, the teachers and the places and the workshops and the things that like weren't really for me. And I consider myself a spiritual leader of sorts. And I define myself as a leader in the sense that I like to share by example. I like to share my stories. I like to be vulnerable. I like to open my heart and tell you about the things that I, have learned. I'm just laughing at this girl because this is not every day that she's so content to just be held like this. But yeah, as someone who likes to share my stories, my insights, and share pieces of the journey that I had to go through in order to learn what I learned and see what I now see. So I'm gonna circle back to what I began this video about and kind of go back to the even the thing where my voice started getting raspy, because that mirrors what this video is about. The past few days for me have been coming up against the final bits of some final bits of residual crap and stuff, or old energy, old beliefs, old things like this. And I found myself in multiple situations, socially, environmentally, where I was being myself. I was being who I am. And I got tripped up at times. There were, and I think the best way to kind of explain what I'm trying to say to you is by telling you the story. So one example, again, was that moment when I was kind of advocating for myself and speaking about things that nobody ever brought to my attention. Nobody ever spoke up for me on my behalf and said that I was exploited by a spiritual leader or spiritual narcissist. No one ever stood behind me and pointed that out and stood up for me. I've been in so many situations where I was the one who had to learn to grow a spine after I was tossed between wolves. You know what I mean? And I know I'm not the only one. So in life, this is my experience. And if this is your video, then you probably have the same experience where when you finally grow to become the person who finds your voice, inner and outer, despite the ways that it was silenced, when you turn it on again in the same circumstances where it was once shut off, your nervous system is going to react because it remembers, but it's not a reflection of your strength, your clarity, anything like that. It's a residual energy. And that's why when I was calling certain things out, my voice was getting raspy because my nervous system was releasing the stress from that. And so that's why I'm making this video, because I want to remind you to just separate your present awareness from... She's just so happy right now. Separate your present awareness from what your body is doing. When you learn how to embody the truth, there goes my voice adjusting again. There's it's like the musculature and the tone around my vocal cords is standing up, and the blood flow is changing in my literal soma and my flesh to support the truth to come through, and these adjustments happen. Here my voice goes raspy again, but this is a different kind of rasp. This is a deeper, more embodied, I can feel my voice projecting a little bit more and becoming more It's almost as if my voice is coming from a lower place inside of my body. It's coming from a deeper resonance. And when you learn, if you are a truth seeker and you learn how to embody the truth despite, life circumstances, and you learn how to speak, you learn how to stay present, you learn how to stay with your sensations, you're going to encounter these crusty, tangly moments where you trip and you stutter and you say the wrong thing and you are like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I had another moment the other day where I went on a hike, and I'm in a landscape that's pretty rugged. It's rural, there's cacti and bald cypress trees everywhere, and spider webs, and it's hot as the dickens outside. I never say that. I don't know if I use that correctly, but I just felt like saying it. Hot as the dickens. So it's rough, and I haven't spent the majority of my life in that kind of environment. Let's just adjust you, my girl. Yeah. Oh, you're so good. You're so good, my honey. And so, yeah, I went on this hike, and there was it was a waterfall. It was a river overlook. So there were stairs leading down to the river, and there were these massive boulders and like shelf rocks everywhere. And I was trying to get to a specific area on the river, and I saw some other people there, so I knew it was accessible. I'm gonna put my hand underneath you. Yeah, here we go. She needs the support, because when I go like this, she's like, well, she's not doing it now, but she looks for it. Thank you for being patient. I just wanted to give them an example of what I was thinking in my head, because I just need to say everything out loud. So I was walking across these rocks, and there was a moment where there was a slippery kind of path up one of the rocks, and it was narrow, and I had a tote bag, and I had my hydro flask, which has a straw, so it's got like a lid that you push on. It's not like a screw tight leak-proof lid. So I had it in my tote bag, and then I also had a couple of supplements in an open pocket, and I feel like you probably might know where this is going. So I climbed up the thing. Oh, and I was wearing my flip-flops, which were rubbery and really like slippery, especially on cat hairs, man, especially on smooth rock face. And so I'm good at balancing. I love rock climbing, and I love the physical challenge, even if I look awkward doing it. And I actually find something that's frustrating is when people kind of try to interject, whether I'm doing a physically challenging task or just, I don't know, doing something simple. I hate it when people try to correct me or fix me without me being the one to ask for help, because it's like when you have a child, or you're walking a dog, I don't know, I feel like the child analogy is going to be the best one here, but when you have a child, you need to let that child fall and climb and run around and get hurt and learn how to use their bodies for them to build skill, capacity, confidence. And a lot of parents, a lot of people are very controlling of their children, and they don't have another issue is that they don't actually have environments that are safe, that they feel safe letting their child explore and cultivate their trust in their bodies and their skills. And a lot of people currently don't understand this kind of difference between genuine safety, protection, precautionary measures, and the reality that you need to experiment and learn and sometimes get hurt in order to do something. And then sometimes people are just looking out for you. They want to protect you. It's, again, this is a nuanced topic of conversation. And so I don't want to speak in, black and white and kind of say that like my experience is the only thing that exists, because that's not true whatsoever. But anyway, I was in a situation where I was being physically challenged, and I had to like maneuver my body parts in a way where I was like balanced just right so that I didn't slip and put too much weight on here or there. And like, I like doing that. It's satisfying. It's stimulating. And again, I'm a rock climber. I haven't climbed in a long time, but I'm a rock climber at heart. I used to have rock climbing birthday parties every year when I was a kid. And I go to gyms regularly when I am in a place with a gym. And it's also a very social thing. So yeah, when I have more of a community and I'm more kind of settled in a place, that's like usually when I climb more actively. But anyway, I was doing that, had my tote bag, and I was in a sticky situation where I just was like, I hit this wall internally where I was trying to figure out how to take the next step up, and I was trying to like balance my tote bag and trying to put it on the rocks, but I couldn't reach it far enough because then my foot was going to slip, and I was just like, I don't know, I was in an awkward situation. And then I kind of slung my bag over my shoulder, I guess, and I was like, well, there goes my flask being balanced in my bag so that it doesn't spill, and it started leaking, and then my supplements came out in my pocket of my little thing, and I was like, ugh. And so, you know, synonymous with the analogy of the voice changing when you are speaking truth in a setting where you once couldn't or once didn't. The mind and the belief systems, when your body and your flesh is doing something that maybe, so for example, I'm just going to make an example. I've been in so many situations where people have projected what I should do and how I should move, how I should balance, the kind of water bottle I should take. And I was just like, F all of that. I'm exploring. I am experiencing life from my body and from my curiosity, and I don't actually care if I successfully make it up this. I don't care if my water spills. I don't care if my supplements spill. Of course, I care about the environment, but I mean, mimosa pudica seed capsules, I don't know how much that's going to do to a boulder on a riverbed. I really don't. Maybe I should have been more cautious. I don't know. But it happened. It was a mistake. And that's my point. I wanted to be in a situation where I could learn, and I will learn. And I wanted to learn in sovereignty, in autonomy, without, being controlled. And again, there's a nuance, there's a balance, because it's like, I don't know, spilling my herbal supplements into this environment could have a negative impact that I'm not aware of. So if I made a huge mistake and I didn't know about it, then, I will learn about it at some point. But there are some things that you just need to experience through living. And then when it comes to realizing that maybe you made a mistake, or maybe you did something terrible that's, again, I don't know the impact spilling my supplements had on the rocks. And that's the thing that freaks me out the most. However, one of the things that is in this realm of stickiness that I'm talking about right now in this video is that there's also this energy of learning how to forgive yourself, like truly, 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 learning how to have compassion and learning how to see yourself for where you are in the situation that you are, and releasing the projections that you swallowed once upon a time to be socially okay. Because the thing is, when you're in a tribe of people and everybody has an idea of how things should be, and one person goes against that, whether they mean it or not, that whole tribe can get mean. And that meanness is a biological necessity sometimes to protect to protect the integrity of the group. And that's valid. You know what I mean? However, there must be balance. There must be compassion in there. If someone makes a mistake and they don't mean to, they should feel a little bit of pain, because self-awareness, especially self-reflection in the face of having made a mistake, it's uncomfortable as fuck. And that's the difference between a narcissist and a non-narcissist, is that narcissists don't look at their pain. They just project it out. And they don't take accountability, but a non-narcissist knows how to be compassionate with themselves. And sometimes it's really, really hard to do that for me when I make a mistake. And I have never felt or experienced love from the outside in the face of me making a mistake, in a way that makes me feel like I'm really forgiven, if that makes sense. And so I've just had to learn how to find it in myself. And that's kind of what this energy is about. You're coming up against these edges of your safety and your comfort and what you know, and you're in situations where these residues are coming up so that you can continue reinforcing compassion. You can have real-time experiences to reprogram your mind, your neural pathways, to register, oops, I spilled supplements on a riverbed, from, oh no, I'm not worthy, I'm not going to survive, everyone's going to hate me, all the environmentalists are going to hit me and hurt me and be so mad at me and I'll never be able to be their friend. Those are thoughts. They're knee-jerk reactions to past experiences that aren't true to where my faith lies. My faith lies in compassion, in forgiveness, in godly qualities. That's what I'm trying to follow. And a lot of the time it's taken me radical self-acceptance and compassion that I never even knew existed in order to move past these fears and to be able to make mistakes, or to look sloppy while climbing up a rock, or to wreck my bag, spilling salty electrolytes all over it so then I need to wash it, or speaking the truth and my voice gets hoarse, or speaking, or there was another example of what happened, and I was on this trail walking to the waterfall, and I walked past this couple, and they were looking very intently at something, and I was like, did you see anything interesting? But when I asked that, I stuttered in a way I didn't even recognize myself. I had never, probably like once or twice in my life, maybe during my childhood when I was really, really scared of like an authority figure, I stuttered like that. And so what I recognized that moment as was me following the part of myself that was leading with curiosity, friendliness, openness, connection. And there were all these other parts of me, afraid of judgment. It's not okay to talk to a man who's in a relationship with a woman. Whatever, all these programs and parts of me that caused my literal flesh and nervous system to retract from compassion, from God. So what I'm trying to say is, when you lead with what you value at the highest, all of the parts of your soma, your flesh, your nervous system, they're going to come up and create awkward, uncomfortable, physiological experiences. So the learning here is separating the version of you who fully embodies your values and the version of you who made you shrink in the face of saying hi to a stranger, or climbing in a way that you've never climbed before, or speaking the truth in a place where you never spoke it before. So that's what this energy is about. That's all. That's the message. That's all I have to say. This girl, I can't remember the last time she has hung out so contently on my arm like this. I mean, she's literally fallen asleep on my arm. Like a little alligator just like coming up on the screen. I have the like time recording bar on the bottom here, so I can't really see what's like over here. So maybe you can see her, but I can't see her I can't see her eyes right now. Anyway, leave a comment if this was for you, please help my algorithm grow, help this video reach more people. I'm serious. Like the video if you like it, and subscribe if you want to see more like this, and stay in tune with my channelings, because this is what I do, this is what I love doing. Other than that, if you're watching this before June 16th, I'm hosting an event called Rocky Transitions. It's all about exploring this kind of stuff while you're in the midst of becoming who you want to be and stepping into the life that you know is for you, that God / your soul / your intuition has called you towards. On June 30th, I'm hosting an event called Gaslit to Guided, also about a lot of the stuff that I was talking about in this video. Gaslit to Guided is an event open to anyone who wants to learn intuitive and psychic ability skills, because you can train those abilities with practical tools that you can take home with you and use anytime. So it's welcome to anybody who wants to learn those things. But I specifically made it with people like me, and maybe you in mind, who have survived emotional abuse, emotional neglect, emotional manipulation, and gaslighting, because the chronic exposure to those things creates an internalized kind of, a holding pattern in your nervous system of self-doubt, self-blame, and quieting your inner voice, because allowing your inner voice and your inner sight, your inner knowing to be free once upon a time put you at emotional risk and maybe even physical risk for some people. It wasn't safe to tell the truth. It wasn't safe to see clearly, because if you were being manipulated, being held captive by a manipulator, an abuser, a gaslighter, then you know that very well. So I'm going to be teaching practical tools to help you remember your clarity, your sovereignty, your empowerment. This is my life's purpose. This is a big part of it. This is my passion. This is what I've been through. And I want to share as much as I can with you in this hour of workshop time. It's on June 30th, I think 7 to 8 p.m. Central Time. Eventbrite link is in the description. Lastly, I offer one-on-one intuitive support sessions. It's a new thing. I'm going to share more info on that and the link to the Google form in my workshop. The workshop is a great way to get to know whether you resonate with working with me. But if you like what I'm talking about and you want to schedule a session for yourself, just send me a message, leave a comment, write intuitive support in the comments, and I'll send you the link to the schedule form. So that is all. Love you guys so much. Stay tuned, and I will see you next time. Bye.